Can I get a favor from some Lions fans out there? Can we have a little patience until we get to Monday, please?
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Matt Dery with you. It is a Wednesday edition of Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network, on a Wednesday, March 4th, and a Thursday, March the 5th, as we inch closer to free agency beginning on Monday at noon. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for checking us out again, wherever you get your podcast. Shout out to our everydayers that are out there. We'll tell you a little bit more about our Everydayer Club, and you guys can join for free for the first month. We'll do that coming up momentarily here on Locked On Lions. It is a busy day. We will have a call of the day at the end of the show. We're bringing it back. Yes, a call of the day. If you want to be our call of the day, leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/Dery podcast page. Keep it under a minute. Don't swear, and we'll play that voicemail on the air. I got to give a little bit of love to Steve Gregorian, Leah Nocita, and the folks at the Detroit Economic Club today. They put on a great show. Andy Beshear was in town, the governor of Kentucky, and got to give some love to the DEC as well today. All right, lots going on today. I want to get to a call today. Jake Bates is back, baby. Oh, yeah, kicker list. That's dead and buried. The Vikings have an interesting situation going on right now. Around the division, a lot of players are departing these teams. All right, it happened with the Lions. We know about Graham Glasgow and David Montgomery. I want to get into the Viking situation a little bit coming up. But first and foremost, here's where I'm starting the show today. And I'm going to tell a little story. All right. Today I was active. I was at my 9-to-5 job. I was at a Troy Chamber of Commerce event this morning, our leadership enrichment group. I went and picked my wife up from work downtown, and we went to the Detroit Economic Club luncheon. And it was a lot of fun and good networking, met a lot of people, etc. I got myself a haircut. I went over to the Association of Mergers and Acquisitions group, AM&AA, for a little happy hour. I'm driving home. No, I'm not. I wasn't drinking. Don't worry. All water for me. I'm not drinking during the week anymore. I'm driving home. And speaking of not drinking during the week anymore, shout out to everydayer Joe Allen on the birth of baby number 3 and daughter number 2. Joe, love you. Joe doesn't believe me that I don't drink during the week. Screw you, Joe. No, I'm just kidding. Congrats to Joe and Caitlin and the crew. All right. So I'm driving home, and I had 97.1 the ticket on, listening to Valeni on my way there. I get in the car, and my buddy Jeff Rieger is on. All right. And I don't listen a lot to local radio as much as I used to when I worked in the biz and all that crap. But I had Rieger on, and oh my God. Like, the callers calling in, talking Lions, talking about Brad Holmes. Oh, it's same old Lions. What? Can we please exercise some patience with this organization until Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, please? If the Lions do nothing next week and re-up a couple of guys and fill in some spots, and they don't do anything fun and exciting and worthwhile, I'll be the first to get on this podcast here on Locked On Lions, which we've been doing for 10 years, and I'll say this was not good enough. Man, the Bears went and did this. The Vikings went and did that. The Packers went and did this. The Rams, and I'll talk about the Rams in a second. But, can we just wait a second before we're sitting here on Wednesday before free agency, calling into shows, talking about SOL again? Same old Lions is gone. Oh, the same old Lions because Brad Holmes just signs his own guys. He doesn't do anything in free agency. And last year they gave a lot of money to DJ Reed. A lot. He sucked. A few years ago, they paid DJ Reader. They gave him a lot of money. He wasn't so good. Can we just hold on a second before we start talking about Brad Holmes sucking and SOL and all this nonsense? Did the franchise have a disappointing year this year? Of course. Absolutely. Have we been saying, and has everybody been talking about it? how big of an offseason this is for the Lions to get back to winning the division again. Of course, absolutely. But to sit here on the Wednesday before free agency, well, I haven't seen any restructuring yet. Goff hasn't restructured, and St. Brown hasn't restructured, and Penei Sewell hasn't restructured. I guess we're just sitting on our money. I guess we're just not going to do anything. Wait a minute. Everybody take a step back, and to quote Aaron Rodgers, ayahuasca Aaron, relax. Let's see where this goes. Please. I want to get on Monday, late afternoon, and talk about some exciting players that the Lions have added and see if they've gone out and filled a few holes. I think they're going to. Is it going to be these big splashes? Dave Burkett of the Free Press reported yesterday. No. If you talk to NFL insiders and experts and people around the general managers as well, they're saying this free agent class ain't so good. And oh, by the way, this draft ain't so good. But can we just sit and wait? Now, let's be fair. The Los Angeles Rams are going for it. All right. Today, they traded their number one. They have 2 first-round picks, by the way. But they traded number 29 and packaged a couple other picks to the Kansas City Chiefs for Trent McDuffie, who is, according to Pro Football Focus, a top 12 corner in this league. McDuffie's a great player. He didn't have a great year this past year, but nobody in Kansas City did. The Rams always say F them picks. The Rams have always been a team, I think 9 out of the last 10 years, they have traded their first-round pick for players, for veteran players, for additions. All right, we know how many, they sent 2 first-rounders to the Lions for Stafford. All right, the Rams are not a team that cares much about the draft. Ask anybody around the Reese's Senior Bowl. Who's the team every year at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama with the least amount of representation? It's always the Rams. LA's going for it. Stafford's back for another year. They made it to the NFC Championship game last year and lost to Seattle. And they went out and got Trent McDuffie. So that opened up the Pandora's box up. Well, why didn't Brad Holmes do that? Well, hold on a second. There's a difference between trading the 29th pick and the 17th pick. Right? 17th pick has a lot more value. The Lions have DJ Reed coming back. They've got Ennis Rakestraw, they hope, healthy. They hope to re-sign maybe Rock Yassin or one of those types. Terrion Arnold, as of right now, is on the team. And you spent a first-round pick on him, and Kelvin Shepard was lathering up in the Terrion butter at the Combine before all this news hit about kidnappings and everything else that, again, his representation and lawyers say he had nothing to do with. So I don't know if the Lions are ready to commit to Trent McDuffie here. Now, with that being said, I get some of the angst the fans have. Man, the Rams are going for it. Oh, the Bears are rumored to be in the running for Maxx Crosby. Let's see how this all goes. If the Bears trade for Maxx Crosby, and if other teams continue to make big-time moves, and the Lions do sit on their hands, and their biggest move on Monday or Tuesday is re-upping Al-Qadim Muhammad, you guys have every right to be like, what are we doing? But we got to wait a little bit. This is a general manager that built this thing from, it was in rubble under the maestro Bob Quinn and his sidekick, Matt Patricia. Brad Holmes deserves the benefit of the doubt because he built a team that a few years ago went to the NFC Championship game and was 30 minutes from a Super Bowl. Since the Lions haven't won a playoff game. That's a fact. Since the Lions have taken a little bit of a step back. They're 2 years removed from a 15-win team with their best players all back on this team this year. Who are their best players on that 15-win team? Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Aiden Hutchinson. Jack Campbell was on that team. Branch, Aleem, Kirby Joseph. We'll see. All still here. All still in their prime. Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker. One missing is Frank Ragnow. I'm giving Brad Holmes the benefit of the doubt Maybe a week from today, I'm going to go, what the hell are we doing? It's possible. But for today, on Wednesday, before free agency, I'm telling everybody to take a deep breath. Cannot believe, and this is no knock on Rieger or the call screener at 97 Fun. All right. I worked there for 4 years. The edict, and it still probably rings true today, was always take the calls. Phone calls, phone calls, phone calls, phone calls. Light up the lines, take the calls. That's the Tom Bigby way. But SOL and Brad Holmes got to go, and sick of this crap. Everybody said the Lions sucked this year. They went 9-8. They had a winning record. We used to throw parades for Jim Caldwell 9-8 teams back in the day. All right, coming up next, Vikings, Bears, Lions. Something's going on here that I'm going to explain. We will do that next right here on a Wednesday edition of Locked On Lions. And Locked On Lions today is sponsored by BetterHelp, all right? March is a time to celebrate women, especially around International Women's Day, and to recognize just how much they carry at work and relationships and families and in all the unseen roles they step in every single day, all right? It's easy to celebrate that strength, but it's just as important to make space for their emotional well-being. And honestly, that goes for all of us, all right? Celebrating a woman in your life, you got to do it daily. All right. My wife is my best friend, my rock. She is everything. All right. She's the best. And by the way, your emotional well-being matters too. Find support, feel lighter in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. They're the best. They got 30,000 licensed therapists and more than 6 million people served worldwide. BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, and it works. Fill out a short questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and if it's not the right fit, you can switch at any time. All right? There's pressure on these women that have these expectations that we love about the women in our lives. Get some help with BetterHelp to have those conversations. Again, find support, feel lighter in therapy. Sign up, get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lockedon. BetterHelp.com/lockedon. All right, folks, I told you about this yesterday. Free agency's here Monday. Woo! And so are we. All right. Get 1 month free of our Locked On Lions Everydayer Club with code free agency. It's free for a month. Free for a month. No spaces, now through March 15th. Code free agency, no spaces, all one word, free agency, no spaces, now through next week, March 15th. You go ad free. You don't have to listen to any of the ads if you're in our Locked On Lions Everydayer Club. Keep the conversation going on our Locked On Lions Discord chat. Hop on there. Talk to us. I'm on there. Chatting away with you guys about the Lions, taking questions. It's a lot of fun. All right. Join the club at lockedonlions.supercast.com. That's lockedonlions.supercast.com. All right. Back with you, Matt Dery. It is Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you, everybody, for making it that. You know what was interesting was week 17 this past season. Your Honolulu Blue and Silver Gladiators went into Minnesota and got their asses kicked on Christmas Day. It was terrible. That was one of the worst football games I've ever watched. It was brutal. All right. And I grew up as a Browns fan in Cleveland, and then I moved here to Detroit. I was here for 0-16. We've seen some bad football. I've seen some bad football. That was a brutal game with the 6 turnovers. It was rough. All right. And on that day, Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, Jonathan Grenard just dominated. The Lions O-line got tattooed that day. And those 3 dudes were a big part of it. Lions couldn't block that whole day. Couldn't run, couldn't protect Goff. He's getting hit and fumbling. He's getting hit and throwing picks. It sucked. The Minnesota Vikings are clearing cap space. And Jonathan Grenard is on the trade block. They want to get rid of him. Right now, he's set to make $26 million this year. Jonathan Allen reportedly is going to be a cap casualty and going to get cut. And Javon Hargrave has already been let go, as has Aaron Jones, the running back. It's kind of ironic that in week 17 in a game that the Lions had to have, those three guys along their D-line, and Aaron Jones for that matter, all just beat up on the Lions. And they all could be gone. Now, here's a caveat for you. Anytime I see a guy get let go, I always see the Bears name, touchdown Bears. I always see the Bears name come up. And it happened again today. 31-year-old Jonathan Allen started all 17 games last year for the Vikings. 2 years ago was a Pro Bowler with the Commanders. Very good interior defensive lineman. If the Vikings let him go to save about $6.5 million or so in cap space, the Bears would want him. I see that a lot. Oh, Maxx Crosby. A lot of the rumors and reports are he's still going to be traded. What team, with Vegas odds and our friends at FanDuel, what team is the favorite to get him? The Bears. This is what, you sit here and you go, man, the Vikings are just cleaning house. And if the Vikings get Kyler Murray, great, guys. Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy, that would be brutal. I still love Kevin O'Connell, though. But regardless, Vikings kind of getting rid of some veterans because they're way over the cap. And the Bears seem to be linked to all these guys. I'd love Jonathan Allen as a depth piece here. We can get him on the cheap. I found that interesting and wanted to share that with you guys today. All right, the news has hit today. A couple of reports. The Lions have tendered Jake Bates, their kicker, as an exclusive rights free agent. You'll see IRFA out there, which means they have the rights to him. They hold his rights, and if they don't tender him, then he becomes, I believe, restricted. Exclusive rights free agent gives the Lions the first opportunity to keep him around, and that's what they will do, as Jake Bates is back for year 3. We don't talk about this enough, but for many years on this show, and for those of you that have been with us since Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell arrived on the scene in 2021, we used to have this bit called the kicker list. All right. And I had the kicker list behind my computer here, and I would bust it out. It's still behind, but it's I'm not even reaching for it or showing it to you, because Jake Bates has been so good the last 2 years. And again, I would say 2025 this past year wasn't as good as 2024 for Jake. Obviously in 24, when the Lions won 15 games and he's banging field goals through to win games in Minnesota, to win games in Houston, the 50-plus yarder at Ford Field this year. Which game was that? Dallas? Was that Dallas or was that the Packers? One of those. No, it was the Bucks. Jake Bates has had a really, really good year, or a really, really good 2 years. And I don't think we talk enough about how good of a kicker he's been. And the fact that Brad Holmes, people talk about Brad Holmes won't do anything. Brad Holmes saw this guy kicking in the UFL for the Lions, had spent the first 3 years of his career as general manager basically playing musical chairs with his kicking situation. Oh, 1 year we're going to have Riley Patterson and the Money Badger compete. Oh, this year we're going to have this guy and that guy compete. Matthew Wright, Randy Bullock. They would, remember the Santoso game in Pittsburgh, classic old bit. But he went out and got Jake Bates. Jake Bates won the job and has been the Lions kicker ever since. And he's been very, very reliable. He's got a really, really big leg. The guys love him. And bringing him back, this is like a no-brainer. No-brainer. When we're talking about, the kicking situation. It's finally, after several years, really kind of been put to bed. And we saw plenty of teams this year, including in the playoffs, Green Bay, Brandon McManus, cost them that Bears playoff game in Chicago. He just nails it. One of those two that he missed, Green Bay probably beats Chicago. So you got to have somebody reliable, and the Lions do in Jake Bates, and he'll be back for year number 3. All right, let's do a little call of the day, shall we? That is coming up next, right here on a Wednesday. Locked On Lions. If you missed Jeff Risdon from Detroit Lions podcast yesterday, go back and watch it or listen to it. Jeff was great talking about the combine. Hey, it's Matt Dery from the Locked On Lions podcast. The people I love depend on me. If I'm gone, the financial responsibilities don't disappear. I didn't want my family figuring things out during the hardest moment of their lives. That's why I knew only one place to go. I chose life insurance through my friends at Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. I love the folks at Ethos. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get the free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. That is ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Ethos.com/LockedOnNFL. Application times and rates may vary. All right, it's been a while, but let's do the business, shall we? Call of the day. If you want to be our call of the day, leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/Dery, Dery podcast page. That is an opportunity for you to chime in and be on the program. Jayden, Jayden, is chiming in as today's call of the day, and he brings up a position that we have not really brought up much on the program lately. Call of the day time right here on Locked On Lions. Let's take a listen.
Hey, Matt. How you doing? It's Jaden down here in Florida. I've called in a few times. I got a question about how you want us to handle our backup quarterback situation. I think we're all pretty satisfied with Goff for the most part. If Sam Darnold can win the Super Bowl, so can Goff. Anyways, as for a backup quarterback, how would you feel about us taking a swing at a developmental guy in the draft, like a Taylor Green? I think that's his name. Or maybe even making a trade for Anthony Richardson. Or are you satisfied with Kyle Allen running it back again? I really hope not. Anyways, let me know what you think and have a good day. All that good stuff.
Hi, Jaden. Thank you very much. Okay, let's start with a couple of things that he brought up. Number one, no, I'm not giving up any draft capital for Anthony Richardson. Okay. Anthony Richardson has had an absolutely atrocious career with the Colts. I know he's a very young player. I know he came out of college at Florida and was extremely raw, but it just has not worked out for him in Indy. Then he got hurt last year in a freak injury. I'm not trading for Anthony Richardson. Jared Goff, again, knock on wood, has been so dependable and has been a guy that, for the last 2 years really hasn't left the field. Last 3 years. So the backup quarterback spot really hasn't even needed to be used. He has been so durable and injury-free that Kyle Allen, Teddy Bridgewater, anybody that has been behind Jared Goff, David Blau from back in the day, really hasn't had to play. The question for the Lions this year, again, Kyle Allen was on a 1-year deal and was making less than $2 million. So again, the question for the Lions is going to be, yes, what do they do about the backup quarterback spot? And how much effort do they put into it? All right. Remember, the Lions now have Mike Kafka on their staff. He was the interim head coach of the Giants. He was their OC the last couple of years. He has a connection with somebody that is out there and will be a free agent. And that is like the backup extraordinaire, Tyrod Taylor. If Kafka goes to Dan Campbell and Dan Campbell goes to Brad Holmes and says, bring in Tyrod, that could be a guy that could be an option. Kyle Allen is also an option because he didn't play last year. He won the job in the preseason. He was 50 times better than Hendon Hooker. And Kyle Allen wasn't bad in the preseason. And I went into last year going, you know what? If Jared Goff gets hurt, Kyle Allen seemed to be okay. He and Isaac Tesla had a great chemistry in the preseason. Kyle Allen didn't even need to be utilized this year other than in blowouts. Allen's an option. Tyrod Taylor is definitely an option. Russell Wilson has ties to Mike Kafka, but Mike Kafka benched Russell Wilson and made him the number 3 quarterback. So I don't see that happening. And Russell Wilson made $6 or $7 million last year. Kyle Allen made $2 million. I don't think the Lions are spending a lot of money on a backup. All right. Marcus Mariota is available. But again, he's going to want to compete for a starting job, and he's going to also want north of $10 million. Kenny Pickett would kind of be interesting, but Kenny Pickett is a guy that's been traded like 4 times in the last 2 years. Kenny Pickett was so bad with the Browns last year in training camp, and I know some of it was injury, but the Browns had Shedeur Sanders and Joe Flacco, and they traded Kenny Pickett. That's an option. I would have no problem bringing Kyle Allen back. Jaden mentioned drafting somebody as a developmental guy. This is a terrible quarterback class in this draft. Next year's class is much better. But bringing a young guy in and drafting somebody in the 5th, 6th, or 7th rounds to be the number 3 guy and to maybe push Allen a bit in camp would not bother me at all. But, hey, Teddy Bridgewater's around. He's retired 15 times. Maybe bring him back. I think they're going to bring Kyle Allen back, Jaden. That's my guess, so we'll see. All right. Appreciate all of you making us your first listen, checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Again, join our Locked On Lions Everydayer Club. It is free until March 15th. Join us. Get your first month free. And if you don't like it, you can drop it. I'd love to see you and have you test it out. Let me know what you think. And hop on our Locked On Lions Discord server in the chat and drop me a note. I like interacting with you guys, especially on the Discord. I do. Don't forget, we are on Facebook, Locked On Lions, TikTok, Instagram, all of that as well. This has been a Wednesday edition of Locked On Lions.